You know, maybe the hardest thing in life is not what people do to us, but how we keep reacting to it. Maybe someone says something small, and suddenly we feel this heat rise inside. Anger, hurt, pride. It's like they touched a hidden wound we forgot we had. And in that moment, it feels personal, like they meant to hurt us. But what if it's not about them at all? What if it's something inside us that's asking to be seen, healed, released? Sometimes I think the universe doesn't send us people to hurt us. It sends us mirrors to show us where we're still holding pain. That's why the same type of situation keeps showing up again and again, just with different faces, different names, different places. Maybe it's not life being cruel. Maybe it's life being kind enough to show us what still needs our love. You see, when we understand that everything changes, the anger doesn't own us anymore. The pain doesn't speak louder than our peace. We stop living on defense, waiting for the next person to trigger us, because we realize no one can really trigger you unless there's something inside of you still unhealed. That's not weakness. That's awareness. It's okay if you still get hurt sometimes. It's okay if some words sting a little. Healing doesn't mean we never feel pain again. It just means we no longer live inside it. It means we can see pain for what it is, just energy, just emotion, just another wave passing through. And when it passes, what's left behind is something softer, a quiet kind of strength that doesn't need to prove anything. Maybe the real power isn't in controlling others or changing how they act. Maybe it's in the gentle space between the trigger and the reaction. That pause where you breathe and say, I don't need to fight this. I can just watch. That pause is where peace lives. That's where your freedom begins. And when you start to live from that space, people notice. The same words that used to hurt you just slide off. The same situations that used to make you lose your mind now just make you smile a little, because you see through them. You see that nothing outside of you has the power to disturb the calm you built inside. That's the kind of peace no one can take away from you. So maybe tonight you can sit quietly for a moment and ask yourself, what part of me still needs love? What pain do I keep defending instead of healing? You don't have to fix it all at once. Just notice. That's where it begins. Not with control, not with perfection, but with awareness and kindness toward yourself. And hey, if this kind of reflection speaks to you, if you're on your own quiet path of learning to let go, to live lighter, to love deeper, maybe stay here a while. Subscribe, not for me, but for you, because this space is for the ones who want to heal without hurry, for the ones who believe peace is not found, it's remembered. So, Bree, you're doing just fine. It's okay to feel. It's okay to pause. And it's okay to let life be a teacher, even when the lessons come wrapped in discomfort. Because every moment, every trigger, every silence is just another chance to come home to yourself. Maybe you've noticed it. How life has this quiet way of showing you what you still need to let go of. The same kind of person shows up again. The same arguments repeat themselves. The same emotions rise and fall like waves. And at first you might think, why does this keep happening to me? But with time, you start to see maybe it's not happening to you. Maybe it's happening for you. Every moment that makes you uncomfortable is an invitation, not to fight, not to hide, but to listen. When someone triggers you, they're not creating your pain, they're revealing it. And that's a gift, even if it doesn't feel like one. Because how else would you ever find what's been buried deep inside? Sometimes we spend years building walls, pretending we're fine. We learn how to smile when we want to cry, how to stay silent when our hearts are screaming. But you can only hold it in for so long before life finds a way to bring it back up, not to punish you, but to free you. It's okay to feel it all. It's okay to be tired, confused, angry. You don't need to be some perfect version of peace. Real peace isn't cold or distant. It's warm, honest, and alive. It doesn't mean nothing hurts you. It means you stop running from what does. You face it. You breathe through it. You hold yourself like you would a child who's scared. Maybe that's what this whole journey is about. Learning how to be your own safe place. Because the truth is, people will come and go. Some will understand you. Some won't. Some will love you deeply. Others will walk away without looking back. But if you can sit with yourself in silence and still feel whole, that's freedom. That's peace. And maybe peace doesn't come as a lightning strike or a big realization. Maybe it comes in tiny moments, when you pause before reacting, when you choose not to send an angry text, when you take a walk instead of arguing, when you whisper to yourself, "It's okay. I don't need to fight this anymore." That's the beginning of real change. One day, something that used to trigger you won't anymore. Someone will say the same kind of thing that once broke you, and instead of pain, you'll just feel space, a soft kind of understanding. And you'll realize you didn't have to win the fight to find peace. You just had to stop being part of it. If you ever doubt your progress, look back. You're not the same person you were a year ago. The things that once consumed you now pass through you more gently. You've softened, not because you've given up, but because you've grown wise enough to choose peace over chaos. That's something to be proud of. Maybe right now, you can take a breath and thank yourself for still being here, for still trying, for still believing in light even when things get dark. You don't have to rush. Healing doesn't happen in a straight line. Some days you'll feel like you've moved backward, but you haven't. You're just visiting old pain with new eyes, and that's part of the work. And if any of this feels like home to you, if these words remind you that you're not alone in your quiet battles, then maybe stay with this channel. Subscribe if you want to keep walking this path together, not for numbers or views, but for connection. Because maybe all we need is a little reminder now and then that peace is still possible. So next time something triggers you, remember you have a choice. You can react or you can breathe. You can replay the old story or you can write a new one. You can carry the pain or you can finally let it rest. It's not about being unshakable. It's about being soft enough to stay open, even when life gets hard. And when you do, you'll notice something beautiful. The world hasn't changed, but the way you see it has. The noise doesn't stop, but it no longer drowns you. Because peace isn't something you find outside. It's something you remember inside. And it was always there, quietly waiting for you to come home. Maybe real freedom isn't about having everything under control. Maybe it's about finally letting go of the need to. For so long, we're taught to chase, to fix, to plan, to protect. We fight against what hurts. We cling to what feels good. And somewhere in between, we forget how to simply be. But life keeps teaching us that peace doesn't come from control. It comes from surrender. You see, life isn't trying to break you. It's trying to open you. Every disappointment, every delay, every heartbreak, they're not punishments. They're invitations. Invitations to soften, to see beyond the noise, to trust what you can't yet understand. Sometimes what you think you're losing is really just what was never meant to stay. And maybe that's okay. Maybe letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means allowing life to breathe again. When you stop fighting life, something beautiful happens. The world doesn't suddenly become perfect, but your relationship with it changes. You start to see the hidden grace behind what used to frustrate you. You stop needing every answer right now. You stop measuring yourself by how well things go. You begin to trust the timing of your own story. There's this quiet moment, maybe you felt it, where you just exhale and realize, I don't need to control this anymore. And it's like your whole body softens. The world hasn't changed, but you have. The storm is still there, but now you're standing in the center of it, calm, steady, watching the wind move without needing to stop it. That's freedom, not the loud, victorious kind. The quiet kind that feels like peace finally coming home. And you know what's strange? When you stop clinging, life starts flowing again. People who are meant for you stay. Things that are right for you find their way. You no longer chase, because what's meant for peace will never require you to suffer for it. You learn to trust a rhythm, the falling apart, the rebuilding, the waiting. Everything has its own season. You can't rush spring and you can't stop winter, but you can learn to rest in both. Sometimes we think acceptance means weakness, that if we accept something, we've lost. But the truth is, acceptance is strength in its purest form. It's standing in the middle of the storm and saying, I can't change the wind, but I can choose how I move through it. It's not giving up, it's growing up. And maybe tonight, as you listen, you can give yourself permission to stop fighting what is, to stop waiting for life to be perfect before you decide to feel peace. Because peace isn't found at the end of the battle. It's found the moment you drop your sword. So if life feels heavy right now, take a breath. You don't need to fix it all. You don't need to figure out tonight. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is rest. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is simply stay. Stay with yourself. Stay with the moment. Stay with your breath. That's where everything begins to shift. And if these words help you remember that you don't need to be perfect to be peaceful, then maybe subscribe. Not because you have to, but because this space is a quiet reminder that you're not alone in learning how to live gently. Every week we breathe together, we reflect, we remember. We learn to surrender, not out of fear, but out of love. Because love, real love, isn't just for someone else. It's how you treat yourself when no one's watching. It's how you hold your heart when it's breaking. It's how you forgive yourself for being human. Maybe one day you'll look back and realize the moment you stopped fighting life was the moment you truly began living. Because that's when everything starts making sense, not in the mind, but in the heart. You begin to feel safe in your own skin, even when things around you are uncertain. That's not the end of your journey. That's the beginning of your freedom. So for now, take another breath. Let life be what it is. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're becoming. Slowly, quietly, beautifully, becoming a version of you that no longer needs to fight to feel free. Maybe one of the hardest things we'll ever learn is how to forgive. Not because others always deserve it, but because we do. You see, holding on to pain feels like control. It feels like protection. We tell ourselves, if I stay angry, I'll never get hurt again. But what really happens is that we keep drinking the poison, hoping someone else will feel it. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting what they did. It's about remembering who you are beyond what happened. It takes so much strength to look at someone who hurt you and say, I won't carry this anymore. That doesn't mean you excuse them. It means you choose peace over poison. It means you understand that what they did was about their own pain, not your worth. Maybe they couldn't love you right because they never learned how to love themselves. Maybe they didn't know any better. It doesn't make it okay, but it makes it understandable. And sometimes understanding is what frees us. We often think forgiveness is something we give once, but it's not. It's something we practice every day. Every time the memory returns, every time the pain rises again. It's not a moment. It's a process. Some days you'll feel lighter. Some days the old feelings will return, and that's okay. Healing doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in circles, each time softer, gentler, closer to peace. And forgiveness isn't just for others. Maybe the person you need to forgive most is yourself, for staying too long, for not seeing the signs, for being human. You were doing the best you could with what you knew then. You were surviving. You were learning. So maybe today you can stop blaming yourself for not knowing what you couldn't have known. You've grown now. You see more clearly. That's what matters. It's okay to cry for the versions of you that didn't know better. It's okay to miss people who hurt you. It's okay to still feel pain sometimes. Healing doesn't mean the wound never aches. It means the ache no longer defines you. You can still love someone and let them go. You can still grieve and grow at the same time. That's the beauty of being human. We break, we rebuild, we bloom again. When you start to forgive, something magical happens inside. The walls you built to protect yourself begin to melt. And suddenly, compassion starts to flow, not just for others, but for everyone. You begin to see people not as villains or victims, but as souls doing their best in their own way. You see that we're all hurting in different languages. You stop needing to judge because you realize we're all learning the same lessons in our own time. And maybe that's what love really is. Not romance, not perfection, but compassion. The quiet knowing that even when someone disappoints you, you can still wish them peace. Because wishing them peace doesn't mean you want them back. It means you want yourself back. Sometimes you'll meet people who never apologize, who never admit what they did. You can still forgive them in silence. You can still release yourself without a conversation. Closure doesn't always come from others. Sometimes it comes when you finally stop waiting for it. Maybe right now, you're holding on to something, a memory, a voice, a story that hurts every time you think about it. Maybe tonight's the night to lay it down. You don't need to forget. Just breathe. Let the past rest. You've carried it long enough. And as you do, notice how light it feels to stop replaying the story. Notice how much space opens in your heart when you no longer carry resentment. That's the real reward of forgiveness, not fixing the past, but freeing the present. If this message feels close to something your heart's been whispering, stay here a while. Subscribe if you want a reminder that you're not walking this path alone. Every week, we keep exploring this. How to love without losing ourselves, how to let go without closing off, how to be kind without being weak. Because kindness is not weakness. It's the highest form of wisdom. It takes real courage to stay open in a world that tries to harden you. But the moment you do, you realize something powerful. No one can take your peace if you build it on forgiveness. And maybe, just maybe, one day you'll look at your old pain and feel gratitude instead of anger. Gratitude because it shaped you. Gratitude because it taught you how strong you truly are. Gratitude because it led you back to yourself. So tonight, before you sleep, place your hand over your heart and whisper, I forgive you. Maybe it's to someone else. Maybe it's to yourself. Either way, that's where real freedom begins, in softness, in release, in the quiet truth that you deserve peace more than you deserve revenge. Maybe after all the storms, all the letting go, all the tears and soft forgiveness, what's left is something beautifully simple. Just this moment. Not tomorrow, not the past. Just now. The sound of your breath, the weight of your body, the rhythm of your heart quietly reminding you that you're alive. Maybe that's what peace really is, not a destination, not something to earn or chase, but something that's been waiting right here, beneath all the noise. You see, most of us spend our lives somewhere else. We live in memories of what happened, or in worries about what might come. We scroll, we plan, we overthink. But the truth is, Life doesn't exist anywhere but now. You can't touch yesterday. You can't hold tomorrow. All you really have is this breath, this heartbeat, this very second. And when you finally stop running from it, you find out that the present moment is actually full of peace, deep, quiet, effortless peace. Maybe presence isn't about stopping your thoughts or becoming perfectly calm. Maybe it's just about noticing the way light moves across your room, the taste of your morning coffee, the way wind touches your skin, the small, invisible gifts you miss when you're busy trying to figure life out. Presence isn't about doing, it's about being. It's about coming home to yourself after years of leaving. And here's something beautiful. When you start to live in the moment, life becomes softer. The world doesn't feel so heavy. You stop rushing toward the next thing because you realize there's nothing missing right now. You're not behind. You're not late. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Maybe not where you expected to be, but right where you need to be. There's a quiet kind of joy that comes with that realization. You start to laugh more easily, forgive faster, and love deeper. Not because everything's perfect, but because you're finally awake enough to notice the perfection hidden inside imperfection. The little things you used to overlook start to feel sacred. The smell of rain, the warmth of sunlight, the smile of a stranger. You begin to see how life is always whispering to you, always offering small miracles if you just slow down enough to see them. And maybe that's why presence matters so much, because it's the only place love can live. You can't truly love from the past or the future. You can only love now, the people you care about, the peace you're searching for, the purpose you're chasing. They're all right here, in this quiet space you keep skipping over. When you start to live this way, the world doesn't stop testing you, but you change. You don't react as much. You don't cling or resist. You just let things move through you. You understand that everything has its moment, joy, pain, endings, beginnings, and that they all pass. You begin to trust that you can meet life as it comes, without needing to control it. Maybe that's what real wisdom is. Not knowing everything, but learning how to be still enough to listen. Life will always speak to you, but it whispers, not shouts. You just have to quiet your mind enough to hear it. And maybe as you listen now, you can take one deep breath and let it remind you, you're here. You've made it through so much. You've learned, grown, healed, and you're still standing. You don't have to chase peace anymore. You just have to stop running from it. If these words help you remember that your peace isn't lost, it's just quiet, then maybe subscribe. Stay here with me for a while. Each week we'll keep returning to this place together, the space where nothing's missing and everything's already enough. Because that's what presence really is, the art of remembering that you already have everything you need to feel whole. So tonight, when you close your eyes, don't rush to sleep. Just listen to your breath. Feel your heart. Whisper softly, I'm here. That's the simplest prayer there is. Because when you're here, truly here, you're free. And maybe that's a secret the world forgets to tell you. Peace doesn't come when life slows down. It comes when you do. Maybe once you've learned how to be here, really here, something beautiful starts to happen inside you. Life begins to feel lighter. You stop needing everything to make sense. You stop trying to fix what was never broken. You start realizing that happiness was never something to chase. It was something you were carrying all along. Maybe it's been buried under worry, under pressure, under all the noise of trying to be enough. But when you breathe, when you slow down, when you just let yourself be, that quiet joy comes back. There's this moment, maybe you felt it before, where you're just sitting somewhere ordinary. The sun's fading, there's a soft breeze, maybe a song playing in the distance. And for no reason at all, you feel okay. Not excited, not overwhelmed, just okay. It's peace. Simple, unpolished, honest peace. You can't force that feeling. You can't earn it. You just have to notice it when it shows up and whisper, thank you. Gratitude, you see, changes everything. It doesn't fix life's problems, but it softens the edges. When you start to see what's still good, the way someone holds a door for you, the laughter of a friend, the taste of your favorite meal, you realize life has been kind in ways you forgot to see. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about finding light even when it's dim. It's about saying, maybe this moment isn't perfect, but it's still mine and that's enough. And maybe that's the shift from living like the world owes you peace to realizing you are the peace. When you carry that inside you, you stop demanding so much from life. You stop needing people to act a certain way, or for plans to unfold exactly how you pictured. You let life breathe again. You stop fighting its rhythm and start dancing with it. Sometimes the dance will be slow, heartbreak, loss, waiting. Other times it'll spin you around, laughter, love, connection. But every step, even the messy ones, are part of something sacred. You learn to trust the music even when you can't hear the beat. Because peace is in control, it's in surrender. It's saying, maybe I don't know what's next, but it's okay. I'll meet it when it comes. And maybe that's the secret to living lightly, to stop taking everything so personally. Not everyone will understand you. Not every plan will work. Not every season will be easy. But none of that means you're failing. It just means you're alive. You're learning. You're growing through the noise, through the heartbreak, through the waiting. When you can smile in the middle of uncertainty, not because everything's right, but because you're no longer afraid of what's wrong, that's freedom. You stop needing life to be peaceful because you become the peace. And maybe that's what the Buddha meant all along, not to escape the world, but to walk through it with grace, to love without attachment, to live without needing control, to stay soft in a world that often feels hard. Because real strength isn't in resistance, it's in softness. It's in knowing you can bend without breaking. So, when you wake up tomorrow, try this. Before you check your phone, before you rush into the day, just place your hand on your heart and whisper, thank you. Not because everything's perfect, but because you're still here. You're still breathing. You're still being given another chance to love, to grow, to see the sky, to feel the wind. That's more than enough. And if you ever forget, if you find yourself caught again in a rush, the fear, the noise, come back here. Come back to your breath, to your peace, to this small, quiet space where you can remember who you really are. You don't need to fight for calm. You just need to return to it. Again and again. If this voice brings you a little peace, a little stillness in your day, I'd love for you to stay. Subscribe, not for me, but for yourself, for the moments you forget that life is already happening beautifully right where you are. Because maybe that's the final lesson of all. Peace was never hiding in the mountains or in some distant future. It was always right here, waiting for you to look up, take a breath, and smile softly at the simple truth. You made it through. You're still here. And maybe, just maybe, that's all you ever needed to be. Maybe this is where the journey was leading all along, not to some mountaintop, not to a perfect version of life, but back to you, to that quiet space inside that's been waiting so patiently. Maybe you've spent years searching, running, proving, chasing some idea of happiness that always felt just one step ahead. But the truth, the kind that the Buddha whispered through his silence, is that peace isn't out there. It's been within you from the start. You see, all those moments you thought were breaking you were actually opening you. Every disappointment, every goodbye, every lonely night, they were all guiding you back here, back to the place where you can finally breathe, where you can finally say, I don't need to understand everything to trust the path I'm on. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's more than enough. When you stop running, something magical happens. The world softens. The same streets, the same faces, the same routines suddenly feel new again. You start to notice the little things. The way light falls across your room, the sound of laughter somewhere down the street, the feeling of your own heartbeat. You realize you don't need more to feel alive. You just need to notice more. It's funny how we spend our lives trying to fix what was never broken. We try to be better, to do more, to prove we're worthy, but all along, life wasn't asking you to be perfect. It was asking you to be present, to show up even when it's messy, to stay even when it's hard, to love even when it scares you. Because that's what it means to be human, not flawless, but fully here. Maybe, just maybe, the point of this whole journey isn't to escape pain, but to hold it gently, to stop running from what hurts and start listening to what it's trying to teach you. Because behind every ache is a truth waiting to be seen, that you are capable of surviving the things you once thought would destroy you. You already have. You're stronger than you know, softer than you realize, and wiser than you believe. And if you ever forget that, just come back to your breath. That's your anchor. That's the little bridge between chaos and calm. One inhale, one exhale, that's all it takes to come home again. Maybe that's why monks meditate for hours, not to escape life, but to return to it with eyes open, heart soft, mind clear. So, wherever you are right now, maybe lying in bed, maybe walking through a park, maybe sitting alone with your thoughts, take a breath and smile just a little. You made it this far. Through all the storms, through all the doubts, through all the moments you thought you couldn't, you're still here. That's not small. That's everything. And from here on, maybe you can move through life differently. Not trying to hold it all together, not needing to prove anything, just walking gently, listening deeply, loving quietly. Maybe you'll still get angry, still get hurt, still feel lost sometimes. That's okay. That's part of the dance. Just don't forget, you can always come home to yourself. Because this journey, this path of peace and presence, isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been. The light, the awareness, the calm behind the storm. The part of you that's always known, even in pain, you are whole. Even in confusion, you are guided. Even in silence, you are loved. So, as we end this time together, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for listening, for breathing with me, for letting these words touch the quiet corners of your heart. If something here helped you, even a little, maybe stay. Subscribe if you'd like, but more than that, stay connected to yourself. Stay kind. Stay soft. Because peace isn't a place you reach. It's a way you walk. And as you walk, may you carry this truth gently with you. You don't have to fight life to live it. You just have to let it flow through you. Like breath, like light, like love. And maybe, just maybe, that's what coming home really means. Maybe this is it. Not the end, but a quiet pause. Like when a song fades out instead of stopping, or when the ocean pulls back before another wave. Every ending, after all, is just a breath before beginning again. Maybe that's how peace works. It doesn't leave you. It just changes form. It waits in the background, in the rhythm of your breath, in the spaces between your thoughts. You see, life isn't a race to finish. It's not something to conquer. It's something to feel. to walk through slowly, to notice the way it moves, to hear the quiet music playing underneath it all. Maybe we spend so much time chasing purpose that we forget being alive is the purpose. Breathing, laughing, crying, learning, forgiving, all of it. Even the days that feel empty are part of something sacred. There's a softness that comes when you finally stop trying to control the flow, when you stop demanding answers and start trusting that you'll find them when you need to. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day, when your heart's ready, you'll just know. You'll see that every detour, every delay, every heartbreak was a thread in the fabric of your becoming. So maybe now you don't need to do anything. You don't need to fix yourself, prove yourself, or chase anything that's running away. You just need to sit here for a while. Breathe. Let life catch up to you. Let your shoulders drop. Let the noise fade. This is your pause, your space to remember that nothing about you is ever missing. And as you sit here, maybe you'll realize something gentle but true, that peace isn't a destination you reach after all the chaos ends. It's something you carry through the chaos. It's the calm voice inside whispering, "It's okay, you're doing fine." It's the quiet acceptance that not every story needs closure. Not every question needs an answer. Some things are just meant to be lived, not solved. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." And maybe that's what this whole journey has been about. Peeling away the layers of noise, fear, and expectation until all that's left is you, simple, still, enough. If you can take this moment and hold it gently, close your eyes for a second and feel how your chest rises and falls. Feel your heart beating quietly beneath your hand. That's life, soft, fragile, beautiful. It doesn't need to be more than this. And if something inside you feels a little lighter right now, maybe that's the truth finally settling in. You don't have to chase peace. You don't have to fight for joy. You just have to stop running from yourself. Before you go, I want you to remember this. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to start again. You're allowed to not have everything figured out. You're allowed to just be human, imperfect, whole. If this space brings you comfort, if these words make you breathe a little easier, stay connected. Subscribe, not for me, but as a small promise to yourself that you'll keep coming back to this feeling, that you'll keep choosing stillness in a world that forgets how to pause. And when life gets loud again, because it will, come back here, come back to your breath, to your center, to this place inside that doesn't need fixing, because that's where your peace will always be waiting. Maybe this isn't the end after all. Maybe it's just the quiet beginning of a new way of being, softer, freer, truer. And maybe that's all we ever needed, to come home, not to a place, but to ourselves. Maybe now, as everything settles and the words drift into quiet, you can feel it, that stillness inside you. It's not loud or dramatic. It's gentle, like a tide returning home. It's that moment when you realize you don't need to chase anything anymore. You can just sit here, breathe, and let life be what it is. All this time, maybe peace wasn't something you had to earn. Maybe it was just waiting for you to slow down enough to hear it. It's funny, isn't it? How we search everywhere, in books, in people, in plans, only to discover that what we were looking for was always inside us. Hidden under the noise, buried beneath the trying. You walked through so much to get here. Maybe you've carried pain you never told anyone about. Maybe you've smiled when your heart was tired. Maybe you've learned how to keep going even when you weren't sure why. But look at you now. You made it through. That's something sacred. That's something strong. And maybe from now on, you'll walk a little slower. You'll listen a little deeper. You'll forgive a little faster, not because life gets easier, but because you've learned that peace isn't in control. It's in surrender. It's in letting go of what you thought should be and opening your arms to what already is. There's a kind of freedom in not knowing what's next. It means you're alive. It means life still has surprises left for you. So maybe instead of worrying about the future, you can just whisper, "I'll meet it when it comes." Maybe that's enough. And maybe tonight, before you close your eyes, you can thank yourself for surviving, for softening, for staying kind in a world that doesn't always understand softness. Thank yourself for choosing peace, even when chaos seemed easier. That choice, quiet and unseen, is the beginning of everything good. I want you to remember this, always. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply becoming beautifully, quietly, in your own time. The universe isn't in a rush, and you don't have to be either. If these words found a home somewhere inside you, stay close. Subscribe, so when the world gets too loud again, you'll have a place to return to, a reminder that peace is not out there. It's right here in you. And maybe one day, when someone else is lost, you'll remember these words and pass them on, not as advice, but as a whisper. It's okay. You're already enough. So here we are, the end that's not really an end. Just a breath, a pause, a quiet promise to keep walking gently. Because peace isn't a destination, it's a way of seeing. And now that you've seen it, maybe you'll never truly lose it again. Maybe this is the final breath of this journey together. Not the end. Not really. Just the soft closing of a door that opens onto everything. You walked through storms, through whispers of fear and shadows of doubt. And now you're here. Quiet. Still. Not triumphant, not perfect. Just alive. And maybe that's a victory, not in conquering life, but in being fully present while it happens. The world will keep spinning. People will still say harsh words. Plans will still fall apart. But somewhere inside, there's a space you can return to, a place untouched by chaos, untouched by opinion, untouched by expectation. That's your sanctuary. That's your home. You've carried it all along, even when you forgot. Maybe tonight, as the world hums around you, you'll notice the little things. The way the wind moves through the trees. The way your heartbeat feels against your chest. The way the last light of day falls softly across the room. These moments, small, ordinary, fleeting, are the treasures you've been searching for all along. And maybe, in this quiet, you'll finally understand you don't need to fight life to have peace. You don't need to fix everything to be whole. You don't need to be understood by everyone to feel seen. You just need to breathe, to notice, to allow yourself to be here, exactly as you are. If this voice has been a companion for even a few minutes, maybe stay. Subscribe, not for me, but for yourself, for the gentle reminder that no matter how loud life becomes, there's a quiet place to return to, a soft anchor that's always waiting for you. And maybe the last thing to remember is this. Life is fleeting. Words fade. Moments pass. But the stillness you carry, the peace you cultivate, the soft awareness that watches without judgment, that doesn't leave. That stays. That grows. And in the end, it whispers the truth we've all been looking for. You are enough. You are here. You are alive. So breathe. Stay. Smile softly. And carry this quiet power into every tomorrow, knowing that nothing, no chaos, no anger, no fear can touch the calm that lives inside you. Because maybe the greatest gift isn't reaching the end, but learning to walk gently through every step. And now, maybe you finally have.